meeting is a wonderful institution.
It's really shaping your community.
Your voice can be heard and you actually get to vote on things.
You can't complain about the town problems if you're not willing to be a part of the solution.
I have an influence. I have an impact.
Possibly even more importantly, you'll have an understanding as to why some decisions are made, and typically they're more complex than what it appears to be on the surface.
Town meeting serves to provide incredible checks and balances in government that you don't see in any other form of government.
There's a lot of debate on the floor, and I think that's because we represent diverse views.
I considered town meeting almost a civic duty, almost like voting in a general election.
To be a part of the local government is really an honor.
Who says you don't have a voice at Town Hall? You do, and that voice is yours if you participate in the representative town meeting. Hello, I'm R.D. Saul from NECN, New England Cable News. The town meeting is perhaps the purest form of democracy we have left, an open forum for free and frank discussion of local issues, decision-making of the people, by the people, and for the people. The Massachusetts Moderators Association wants to help us understand how the representative town meeting system works, and I'm joined by a couple of people to help us do that. Heather Sawitsky is moderator of Wellesley. She'll explain the warrant, the agenda that sets out the issues and the order of business. Alan Foles is Reading's moderator. He'll talk about the moderator's role, the person who runs town meeting, guides the debate, and calls for votes. And we'll line out the procedures that guarantee all sides of an issue get a full, open, and fair hearing. And finally, we'll take a look at some of the issues that can come up at your town meeting. Everything from budgets that can raise taxes to expenditures for things like affordable housing and open space preservation. Massachusetts general laws and local bylaws govern town meeting procedures, but each of these get-togethers is unique. Every town meeting has local customs and procedures that reflect the character, and yes, sometimes the characters, of your community.
The representative form of the town meeting works much like its counterpart, the open meeting. The main difference is that voting is limited to elected members. In general, motions are made the same. Its duties and responsibilities are equivalent. But because of size limitations, the voting body only includes a percentage of the town's registered voters. The main reason representative meetings came into existence was to solve the problem of space. As populations grew, there were few and in some towns no place large enough to meet. Rather than switching to a city form of government, many of the largest towns opted to keep as much of town meeting intact as possible, but limited the voting membership to a reasonable size. Towns are divided into precincts or districts, and members are elected from each, so that there would be a proportional representation from across the community. By state law, a town must have a population of at least 6,000 before it can consider adopting a representative town meeting. There are, of course, no requirements to make the change. The general rule of thumb is that the largest towns have made the switch to representative form, which means that many are concentrated in the eastern half of the state, but they can be found anywhere in almost any size. Framingham, currently our largest town, is one, as well as places such as Belmont and Dedham and Lexington. Farther west, you'll find Amherst and Lee. Toward the Cape are Falmouth and Plymouth. In all, there are approximately 40 representative town meetings.
Guiding the business of the meeting is a warrant, an agenda issued by the Board of Selectmen. It contains an outline of every piece of business to come before the town meeting. The meeting takes action on all items on the warrant, no more and no less. Once the business has been completed, the meeting is adjourned. Warrant articles spell out the general subject to be discussed. When town meeting reaches a new warrant article, a town meeting member must make a motion that calls for specific action within the scope of that general warrant article. Discussion then follows. A motion that goes beyond what the warrant article outlines is not allowed on the basis that the public has not received due notice. Articles are placed on the warrant by the Board of Selectmen. Articles can also be submitted by citizen petition. Signature requirements may vary by town. Warrants are distributed or made available to town meeting members and often published in a local newspaper. Also, they are usually posted in public places around town, as specified by the local bylaws.
Most people become a town meeting member because they're interested in something. They're interested in the schools.
Decisions about land use, about how we zone, about how we maintain our streets, about whether we're going to have 2 fire stations or 1 in town, about whether we're going to provide enough funding for the schools that they can have full-day kindergarten.
When I moved to Brookline, I moved from Boston. In Boston, I had no leverage. We wanted to get a playground cleaned up. We had to clean it up ourselves.
These are things that affect the value of people's homes, the general quality of life.
In the 1600s in New England, adult males, freemen, and members of the approved church were in fact the ruling body, as they had been in their home country of England. The meetings at which decisions were made about town business were informal. There was much discussion. Compulsory attendance was in fashion in those days, and if you were absent, you were actually fined. There were no town officials. However, before long, these informal meetings became unwieldy and rather argumentative. And the first town official to be established was the constable. Next came the selectmen, who acted as the executive committee for the town meeting. Finally, a town moderator was appointed because of, quote, intemperate clashings in our town meetings. And a town clerk became necessary to record the votes and keep the records. Interestingly, in the 1700s, in the years leading up to the American Revolution, Massachusetts Governor General Thomas Gage, appointed by the Crown, tried to put a stop to these town meetings. And after hearing about the Boston Tea Party, Lord Germain in England declared, "This is what comes of their wretched town meetings. These are the proceedings of a tumultuous and riotous rabble who ought not trouble themselves with politics and government, which they do not understand." However, once independent, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts included in its state constitution the following words, which really confirm the lasting importance of this form of direct democracy. "The people have a right, in an orderly and peaceful manner, to assemble and to consult upon the common good and give instructions to their representatives."
The most important participants in a town meeting are, of course, the town meeting members. Every registered voter is invited to attend. The meeting can't conduct business unless there's a quorum, a minimum number of town meeting members. When you enter the meeting hall, you'll find a lot of people up front. Don't be put off. They're there for a reason. You'll see the moderator and town officials. The Board of Selectmen will be there. They're the men and women who carry out and oversee town operations based on decisions made at the town meeting. Sometimes you'll find a town manager or administrator who's responsible for day-to-day operations. Also up front, the school committee and the superintendent of schools. The Finance or Advisory Committee will be there too. The committee reviews budgets and makes recommendations to the town meeting on items in the warrant that involve money. And the town council will be ready to provide legal advice.
I've seen town meeting change the course in which the town was headed on a particular issue, and to do so in spite of strong opinions or stands taken by boards of selectmen.
Town meeting decided to extend some library hours that were recently cut.
Last year, we had a proposal for a renovation of the athletic field. Town meeting turned it down at that time because the plan wasn't good, the implementation. This year, they came back with an $7.9 million plan, and town meeting overwhelmingly supported it because it was well thought out.
The trees are a big thing in Lexington. I mean, we voted money for trees this year when all the committees, selectmen on down, said, no, we're not doing that. We can't afford it, and we went and voted for it.
It's pretty amazing what town meeting is able to accomplish by having a group of passionate people who really care about their community and the future come together in an environment where they're given a forum to stand up and speak their minds, and they're required to listen to what everyone has to say.
Towns vary in the procedures that they use to begin town meeting. Often, tradition dictates. For instance, the ceremony might include the Pledge of Allegiance, announcements in general, or those specific to the meeting. Sometimes a moderator might give a synopsis of the rules. All meetings do have some things in common. When a quorum is ascertained, that is in towns that have a quorum requirement, the moderator calls the meeting to order. This is followed by a reading of the warrant. Often this is abbreviated to include only a small piece of the entire document, assuring that all legal postings have been done properly. Once the meeting is underway, the moderator calls for business under each article in the warrant.
Probably the best thing I get out of town meeting is a sense of connectedness with the community.
I've met a bunch of very interesting, engaged, thoughtful people who have become part of my circle of friends.
I can drive around town, I can go into the grocery store, and I can meet other town meeting members, and we have a common bond.
The variety of people really makes it great. There are some people who have been there for years and years and really provide a rich historical account of the town. And there are new people who bring some new ideas, which are great too.
You really become knowledgeable, and I think you feel better. I think you feel better when you have to pay your taxes because you understand that, hey, this is a well-run town.
I think my town meeting is great because it is, for the most part, tolerant. It is respectful of differing opinions.
In Reading, I find that our town meeting has such a level of civility that it's really, it's almost something that you can be extraordinarily proud of.
So what are the rules? They're simple, really. Most people find they can master the rules and comfortably participate after observing 1 or 2 sessions of town meeting. Every town operates under a set of rules adopted locally. Some use Robert's Rules of Order, a commonly recognized set of procedures. Still other towns use town meeting time, which is published by the Massachusetts Moderators Association and is tailored to the operation of town meeting. Sometimes the rules are set by local bylaw or maybe even by tradition. But they all work roughly the same way to ensure that all sides of an issue are heard. Although the rules are detailed, most business is conducted with a few common actions. A motion. To get the business going, a member makes a motion concerning an article on the warrant.
Move that the town approve and appropriate the proposed FY 2007 budget.
The motion specifies exactly what the meeting will be voting on. In many towns, a second is required, and then discussion begins.
And I don't see 3%, 3%, 3% all over the place. I see fictitious numbers like 1%, 0%, 2%. Those are numbers I remember. Those were the early numbers I learned.
Anytime during debate, a town meeting member may propose an amendment to the original motion. If the body votes in favor of the amendment, town meeting will be voting on the newly revised motion. In most towns, when debate has been proceeding for a long time, a member may move the question, which is actually a call to end debate. When the motion is made, the moderator immediately calls for a vote on whether or not to end debate. When debate has ended, the moderator calls for a vote. It can be taken in a variety of ways. In some towns, it is taken by a show of hands or voice vote. In others, a standing count is taken. All those in favor stand and are counted, followed by a count of those opposed.
For the purpose of choosing members, towns are divided into precincts. Each precinct is allotted a certain number of representatives. There is often a requirement of a number of signatures on nomination papers to be placed on the ballot. It is much less, however, than the number needed for town-wide offices, such as selectman, school committee, or moderator. Although every town is different, running for this position is simple. Often there is no campaigning involved, or in some cases it is very low-key. Representatives are not generally slick politicians, they are you and me and our neighbors. There are nearly as many meeting sizes as there are towns with this form of government. The largest number is found in the town of Fairhaven, with more than 400 members. Saugus is the smallest, with only 50. The average is currently 210. The most common number is 240. Often, people ask if members are barred from serving on other town committees and boards. The answer is no. Town meeting members are not treated as committee members or town officials. Instead, they are voters of the town who happen to be chosen by the citizenry to vote for them. In fact, typically, most board members are also town meeting members. It should be pointed out that every town also makes provisions for non-members to speak. In most, these people have the same right to speak as members. In some towns, it's a little more restrictive. Non-members may have to wait until all members have first had their say.
Town meeting does more than discuss issues, it acts on them. All of the major decisions that shape our communities happen there. Our laws are hammered out during debates and completed with a vote. Zoning issues, how big our lot sizes should be, where businesses are to be placed, what types of businesses we allow, are all decided at the meetings. Schools, the number and size of them are decisions made by town meeting members. Town meeting gets to choose where we buy our water and where we dispose of our sewage. Should we have curbside trash pickup? Do we have town snow plowing? Do we build a new park? All decisions made by your neighbors and you if you choose to become involved. Maybe the most important decision involves what we put into our community's operating budget. It directly affects how much or how little we pay in property taxes. Town meeting is full of substance. Every dollar spent and every law enacted comes from decisions made at town meeting.
Town meeting is an attainable position for most people.
Even if you're busy, the busy people have a way of finding time to attend meetings and be on committees.
That's a simple process of running. You merely pick up a form at the town hall, get the signatures.
You need 10 signatures, 15 for good measure. And then once you're elected, you go to the moderator's meeting. She tells you this is how it works and end up at town meeting.
It's very low-key as far as there's no need to learn any secret words or process. You just show up. If you have a great moderator, they will tell you how and when to make your points. Anyone can be a town meeting member.
So there you have it, a look at how the representative town meeting works, deciding together what's important to the quality of life in your community and determining where to spend your tax dollars. It's a system of local government that works best when more people participate. Sure, there's disagreement and strong feelings for and against some proposals. But in the end, it's about common interests and shared goals. It's about community. So don't stand on the sidelines and complain. Jump in. Watch for your local town meeting. Run for town meeting member. Be part of the process.
99% of the cases really get decided on the merits by people really trying to think through what's good for the town.
When a decision is made, it's made based on having a lot of information and a lot of input from people who may not all be like-minded.
People come and often haven't made up their minds about the major issues before they sit through the debate.
I am influenced by the public, the people that come to town meeting and share their views from the citizens' mic. I listen to what they have to say. I listen to what my colleagues in town meeting have to say, and I may come into town meeting thinking I'm going to vote one way and ultimately vote some other way.
If you take any two town meeting members, you won't find a pair that agree on every single issue.
And you're really not seeing the issues debated based on what party someone belongs to. You're seeing them debated on the merits of the issues.
You cannot let it become personal. You have to be able to argue about the issue, beat on each other soundly, and then after it's over you say, hey, Joe, how's the wife?
Basically, I'm voting just my gut feeling and my beliefs.
Well, I definitely have a point of view, but I try to solicit some information from neighbors, read the local papers, see what people are thinking about a topic, just to make sure I have all of the information that I need for my vote.
Town meeting usually ends up right with the decisions right where they really should be, with the best interest of the community as the #1 priority.